welcome to MGTV and another episode where we look at something going on in the village or an organization affiliated with it or working in our village government. And on this edition of the program, we're going to look at something that I think is all in the back of our minds at times, and that's the Community Relations Committee, because every organization in a village has something to do with all of us getting along as people and working together, and Community Relations is certainly one of those organizations. Joining us is Samina Hussein from the Community Relations Commission, and also Tony Kovac, who is here with us today on this program. So let's start with you, Samina, and tell us a little bit about what is the Community Relations Commission.
Well, the Community Relations Commission was first developed after the 2000 census. And basically with the information they gathered, they understood, that the community is comprised of people from so many different cultural backgrounds. So the whole point of the Community Relations Commission was to foster and encourage positive relationships amongst all citizens of Morton Groves. And what the Community Relations Commission would like to do is also encourage and make sure that all the citizens have an equal opportunity when it comes to social, educational, economic, various aspects of the community life here in Morton Grove. We, as a commission, meet every other month, the second Tuesdays of every other month at 7:30 p.m. here in the Civic Center on the second floor. The public is welcome to come, and they are also welcome to come and make any comments or ask any questions if they would like.
A lot of people moving into town, as this is a very mobile society. So Tony, what can the Community Relations Commission do for people who are moving in, to newcomers?
Yeah, our commission has various subcommittees, and one of those is communications and resident involvement. And what we're trying to do with that is promote dialogue and also make sure that new residents have information about village services, phone numbers, what the various village departments do, so if they have a problem or an emergency, they know who to contact. And recently we devised a magnet which we're giving out that has the important village phone numbers on them: police, fire, emergency and non-emergency, public works, all of those kinds of things. They can put on their refrigerator door, and if they have a problem, they can call. Now, as sort of background, several years ago, we used to have resident receptions where we actually got names of new residents off of the property tax rolls, and we invited them to Village Hall or other places to meet with police, fire, and village officials. And when I moved here about 5 years ago, my wife and I went to one of these, and I thought it was really neat to have these people actually talk to us about what they do. But in the course of time, we realized that the attendance to these has gone down for a number of reasons. I think people are so used to using electronic technology, the internet, and of course the village has a website, and they get a lot of that information that we used to give in person. They get this on the internet. People are busy, they may not have time to attend these functions. So we've kind of gradually gotten away from the formal reception and are now trying to have tables at various events like the farmers market, where people can come stop by our commission table and get some of the information we may have given in the other forum. Also, we have the website. Of course, there's a link for new residents they can click on and get a lot of information. Also, we've partnered with the Morton Grove Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and every 6 months they mail out a package of materials which has a little bit about city government and a lot on how the various departments provide services. So this goes out to new residents identified off the property tax rolls every 6 months, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce. And sort of in conclusion, we did a survey not too long ago about neighboring villages and what they do to help acquaint new residents with the services. We talked to Niles, Skokie, Lincolnwood, a couple of other places, and we realized that we actually were doing probably more than a lot of those villages in terms of putting together a package of material and getting it into their hands. And a lot of the villages were just relying on the website, which of course we also have. So in a nutshell, we're trying to get new information to new residents, be they buyers or renters. We know we were not able to capture renters sometimes off of property tax rolls.
Certainly.
But by having a table at these events, the renter can stop by, a new resident to Morton Grove, and find out what we do.
Now, Samina, you mentioned that this whole commission was started after the 2000 census.
Yes.
We just had a census about a year ago. What was the Community Relations Commission's role in helping people to get out and answer their census questions?
Well, we did do a PSA similar to what we are doing right now, where we encouraged everybody to make sure that they fill out the census. If a census officer, I don't know what the exact title is, but there were individuals who were hired to also go door to door and make sure that those forms were filled out. If they happened to not get a form, or they needed help filling out the form, to welcome them and make sure that they were able to fill out all the questions, because in essence the census helps governments determine what our population is, and that in turn affects a lot of funding and what type of funding our village will receive, how much funding our village will receive for various projects, and also our representation in government. So it's very, very important that people fill those out. And we also got a lot of information about the changing the changing demographics in our own communities, and the schools have been aware of that, because the students take ISAT tests every year, and they fill certain things out that give them an idea of what their general demographics is. But the census allowed us as a village also to see how that's been changing as well.
And it certainly changes the way the village reacts to its own citizenry.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Now, there's a Fair Housing Committee, a subcommittee really, on the Community Relations Commission. What's their role?
The Fair Housing subcommittee is actually oversees a lot of the village. First of all, the village has ordinances and policies that prevent individuals from or protect individuals from others who may not want to sell property to them based on various factors. It could be there's so many different, their marital status, their race, their religion, their ethnic background, their ancestry, there's military status. So basically there are ordinances, and we basically make sure that those ordinances, or the fair housing ordinances, are not compromised. So in a sense, we overlook that. If there were a matter that were to come to our attention, we would make sure that we would assist the individuals who are concerned that they may be they may be targets to unfair housing practices. We are also part of the Northwest Municipal Conference, and they also provide forums where we can take these complaints, and they have trained mediators who can facilitate in this process. There's also the interfaith housing that the villages have worked with, and their primary role is to also oversee the various towns and villages and make sure that they are following lawful or they are following their fair housing ordinances. Just recently, they helped Winnetka with certain issues that they were facing, and as far as their fair housing matters were concerned. And what essentially they help with is they look for predatory lending, just general fair housing complaints, landlord-tenant disagreements, and also home sharing. If someone is looking for a place, and they would like to share, split the rent and share with someone, they are able to match you up with some home sharing opportunities as well.
Are there some non-home related cases that the Human Relations Commission gets involved, or the Community Relations Commission gets involved? Yes,
this would be the non-housing discrimination, any non-housing matters that would also come to our attention. The Community Relations Commission does have a policy or procedure that is set in place if something were that to come to our mind. We have a police liaison on our committee, and he would definitely alert us if there was a certain hate crime, or for that matter, things like that, which the community relations could get involved in and help facilitate to rectify.
We don't hear an awful lot about that here. Do we have many cases of this type that show up?
Mediation services?
Yes.
Well, there is a procedure that everyone has to go through if they ever have a concern. And, you know, the first thing you would do is call Village Hall, and maybe matters could be settled, you know, at that point. If the person is not, you know, getting their questions answered, there's various divisions within the village that could help you. If it's a public works matter, you'd go to Public Works. If it's a police matter, you'd go, you know, obviously to the police department. But if for some reason they feel, if it's a building or zoning, you know, they'd go to building or zoning. If for some reason they feel like, you know, their complaints are not being heard, they are also welcome to come and approach their trustees. And even then, if they feel that, you know, this is, you know, that their problem is not being solved, they can also, then they would come to the Community Relations Commission. And, you know, it's something that we would then have to work with our village trustees and see, you know, where is this issue? Why isn't it being resolved? And if it gets to that point, you know, we have, like I said, we're part of the Northwest Municipal Conference, and they have mediation services. And we would then have a mediator come and help with those. The last time I've heard of any kind of mediation process, but unfortunately wasn't involved, it wasn't a mediator that came from the Northwest Municipal Conference, was involving the MCC, with the Muslim Community Center, and the village of Morton Grove. So because the village itself was involved with it, it was another mediator. But the Community Relation Commission was part of that process as well.
And Tony, I would guess with the big changes that are going on throughout many of these suburbs, Morton Grove in particular, in both ethnic, religious, and racial changes in the terms of residents, problems are bound to crop up.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was important with the census we talked about previously is that we've learned from some of the data that about 40% of Morton Grove is Asian. And that's obviously Asian is a very large group. You're talking about Middle East all the way to India, Pakistan, all the way to China, Korea. So I think it's important to help these newer immigrants learn about the village and how the government works in a nutshell. And also it's important for the longtime residents to learn about the immigrants' needs so that they don't overreact or some kind of, you know, cultural conflict. To understand what these people's background is. And likewise, hopefully people will learn to assimilate into the American culture.
How does a group like the Community Relations Commission get itself grounded well enough to deal with these kinds of situations? Because this isn't something that just comes naturally to everybody.
Well, I think it's just having, hopefully, people with a lot of common sense and then sort of that understanding of what the problems can be. Currently we have 7 members of various backgrounds, and I think if reasonable people sit down in a reasonable context, they'll work things out.
If I can interject,
sure.
One of some of the things that the Community Relations Commission has done to encourage, you know, individuals of all different backgrounds is we've also tapped into the schools. And we've had various poster contests. We did have an essay contest, which didn't really take off. But we're trying to gather, you know, as much as we can from all the various ethnic groups. And one of the best ways we found is, you know, going, you know, through the school systems, because there's such a wide variety of ethnicity represented in the school itself, and kids love to get involved. So we've also had a welcome your neighbor poster contest as well. One of the other entities that has opened within our township borders is the ELL Center, and English Language Learners Center, and basically they provide great, exceptional services to immigrant families who come. We're teaching them English, you know, computer skills, and one of their main goals is to help families be able to help their kids. It's really targeted towards parents, but they get a lot of, you know, parents coming, and you would hope that by word of mouth, you know, parents are passing it on to other parents. But that way, you know, they are able to at least, you know, go to their child's school and, you know, communicate with the teacher. And I'm sure that they provide services even beyond to parents, because they are expanding. But that is one place where the most of the individuals in Morton Grove can tap into if they are looking for something like that. And we also have had the Hebrew Immigration Aid Society come in here and tell us about their how they are helping various communities and immigrants, integrate and assimilate, providing them with information about transportation, how to get to places, libraries, etc., and so on.
Well, important, I think, that you're reaching into the schools and talking to children, because many times we've seen in the past anyway where an immigrant family will move in and they mostly stay in the house. They go out to work and they come back, but you never see them outside of those places and perhaps at the grocery store. So it really is good to reach out to the children, and then the parents will follow.
I think we found that just in talking anecdotally with people that a lot of folks come from cultures where it's really not acceptable to confront or even talk to the government. There's actually fear. And the fact of going to a village hall meeting or going to a commission meeting and talking about what you're concerned about is something, quote, totally alien to a lot of folks, no pun intended, because they come from a culture where they'd be basically in jail for doing that. And maybe their kids will learn that it's okay to talk and confront or question authority in an appropriate way. And then maybe the adults will pick up on that too. If they have a problem, they'll bring it up.
Yeah, because we've been here for so long, it's hard to imagine going to a village meeting, saying something to Mayor Stackman and winding up in jail. It just is not one of those things that happens.
No, and unfortunately happens in some places. And when you have people coming from those backgrounds, they're very wary, and they just feel like, okay, as long as don't rock the boat, I'll be fine. And
I think it even goes to something attending a PTA meeting, because maybe in some cultures a teacher is not supposed to be ever challenged on or even questioned on what she or he's doing.
You talked about going out to various places in the community. I noticed this past weekend you were at the farmers market, and I think you've been there before. Tell us about your involvement there. Yeah, we got involved last year fairly heavily with the farmers market. Of course, the market just started last year, and we had a table about 4 or 5 times with a lot of information material, a lot provided by the police and fire department, and we're very grateful to them to give us this material, and also other items. This year, we're doing the same thing, appearing once a month, but on June 25th, which is just passed, we did have the Welcome to Morton Grove Day, which we partnered with the market and invited a lot of community organizations, PTAs, church congregations, religious congregations, American Legion, Friends of the Forest Preserve, a host of organizations to highlight what they do to make Morton Grove a good place to live. And this way we were getting new residents, older residents who were coming by and maybe they weren't that familiar with the activities. Also maybe people from other communities that might get turned on to living here. So we hope to continue our partnership with the farmers market. How can we as Morton Grove residents get involved with the Human Relations Commission?
Well, we were talking about this, and we know that volunteers are just so hard to find these days. But we do have 2 vacancies on our commission, so anyone is welcome to if they let the mayor know or let me know. We are definitely looking for 2 more people, so we have 2 vacancies. But on that note, we definitely would like to get a more diverse group involved, and the more diverse the group is, the more they're telling other people, how to get involved and in their communities, whether it's in the schools or the governments. So that's very important. However, we also know that because it's hard to find volunteers, anyone who's willing and who has their heart in it is welcome to come. And I already mentioned, the ELL Center, and Tony had also mentioned some of the challenges we face as far as getting people from a more diverse background, to get involved because of just some of the background, the cultural background that they come from, where, it's not really common to get involved in your child's school or your local government. You just go through your daily routine and you be happy that there's a roof over your head and food on the table. So I think it's hard. They don't understand that the communities are run through people like Tony and I and you, who are volunteering their time and effort as well, and how valuable that is. And maybe it'll take maybe you'll have to take another generation for that to sink in, because I know that even I myself am involved. I still don't see people from my generation who were born and raised here, who come from, you know, my background, which is an South Asian background, very much involved in their communities. So it's quite a challenge. So, you know, we ask ourselves that a lot of times, and it's hard.
I think too, if people are really curious about what the commission does, maybe in light of they want to volunteer, the village website has a link for our commission. They can read the minutes of past meetings, look at the agenda for future meetings, and kind of get a sense of what we do. Then they can decide if they want to be involved.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, your meetings come at the same time every month, so when are those meetings?
Well, our next meeting is in July, and I said it's the second Tuesday of every month, so I believe it's going to be July.
September, November, I guess.
It'll be July. We have July, September, November, and January, March.
Already
Like
set
that
up.
cycle,
Second
yeah.
Tuesdays,
Well,
right?
we have everything set up for 2011, not for 2012. So for 2011, second Tuesdays of the month, 7:30 p.m. And next
you
one
meet
is
where?
July. Right here at Village Hall, in the second floor trustees conference room. Usually that's the location.
Is there a phone number or anything anyone can call if they want to volunteer to be put on the commission or anything along that line? I don't want you to give your home number if that's all we have.
Well, I think they contact the mayor's office to submit their, resume in a sense, or their interest statement.
Yes.
Has there been anything over the time that you've been together that has struck you as either odd or unusual? Because I'm sure these cases, because they deal with people from all over the world, certainly have some different twists. Everyone would be different, I would think.
No, I don't think so. I mean, not since I've been here.
See, I specialize in the hard questions, because if you can't ask the hard questions, why should you bother?
Well, we really haven't, I don't think any matters have come to us at that level where we have, had to deal with like I said, an extremely difficult situation. The only time I can remember, the Community Relations Commission getting involved in some kind of involvement was with the MCC issue, but I came after that. And that's how I got involved in the Community Relations Commission, because when I was helping out with part of that mediation team, somebody asked me, why don't you get involved in this commission? And I've been on this commission ever since then. But since that time, nothing odd has come to my attention.
The thing I may know on a personal level is I come from Chicago, and we moved here about 5 years ago. And in Chicago, it's very hard to get involved with government. It's don't send nobody that nobody knows, right? That kind of thing. And I found here they're very welcoming. You can get on a commission, you can go to trustee meetings and speak up. If you volunteer, you're gonna get a job.
Yeah.
Well, the welcoming part is very important as a way of life in this village, but it also is something that is then helped to be spread to new people through the work that you do. We have been talking on our version of MGTV this time around with Samina Hussein and Tony Kovac. I want to make sure I get it right the second time around. With the Community Relations Commission. They certainly would love to see you at some of their meetings, and they also have openings, as Samina mentioned, on the commission. So if you are interested in getting a hold of them and being on the commission, certainly love for you to serve. Just contact the mayor's office at Village Hall, tell them you're interested, and everything will go from there. Hope you'll join us again next time on our version of MGTV. I'm Christopher Michael.
We wanted to mention a project that we're just starting to work on. It's called 7 Wonders of Morton Grove. And if you ask what are the 7 wonders of Morton Grove, we don't know yet. That's why the project is just starting. Someone came up with the idea based on something that he or she had found going on in another village. What we propose to do is at the farmers market, let people fill out a form nominating one or more places, events that make Morton Grove a really special place, where it would be called, say, Wonder of Morton Grove. And then we, put together our list and eventually vote to get the 7 wonders.
And the purpose of this project is for people to really think about what that wonder is and how it really contributes to the significance of Morton Grove, whether it be historically, educationally, et cetera, and so on. So we really have to find a good reason on why that is a wonder of Morton Grove.
So look for that coming.
Yeah.